Hello everybody, I have this Power A GameCube style wired Nintendo Switch controller, and it has a couple of issues. One is that the joystick will drift left or sometimes just do a quick flick left, and the other is that the A button will stick. Sometimes I can flick it out. Looks like right now there we go, released there for a second, but it's pretty sticky. So we'll go ahead and open this up and see what we can do about that. I have heard of a way of fixing the joystick, but as for the A button, I'm not entirely sure. I have seen a similar problem with a different controller, but I don't think the solution would be the same for this one. One interesting thing about the A button is that when it's colder is when it seems to be worse. I have a theory as to why that might be. Once I have this opened up, then I'll go ahead and talk a little bit more about that. There we go. Got to be careful with those screws. There are 6 of them, but while I was playing with them before the video, while I was playing with the controller, I lost one of the screws. And once you've got that open, then you've got 2 little screws here holding the circuit board in. Those are pretty easy to take out. And once those are out, just pull on it. There's the circuit board, and there's the inside of the front of the controller. The joystick solution that I've heard is that you take a Q-tip with some alcohol in it and clean off the surfaces. You'll notice this. There's this metal tip and the metal base. Give those a nice clean. Careful not to get anything too wet in there. I think the reason that happens, that it needs to get cleaned, is that residue builds up because this metal pin is grinding away at this plastic joystick, and so then the residue builds up. As for the A button, I'm not sure how exactly to fix that, but you can see, so here's the A button right there. That would mean this little contact patch is for the A button. You can see if I press it in and then let it go, it sticks. If I push it out like that, then it'll release, but it's pretty sticky. And then the X and Y buttons, those are pretty good. Press and release just fine. B button, also pretty good. Little stickier than the X and Y, but not nearly as bad as the A button. A button is very bad. And so the reason that I think it's worse in the cold is that this plastic or rubbery material gets less flexible when it's cold. When it's warmer, it loosens up and gets a little more flexible, and so it can release easier. Like I said, I am not aware of any way of fixing the A button, although I did hear that you can, with a different controller, it had a similar piece like this. That individual cleaned this area off, but I don't think that it being dirty is the problem. I think it's just a design flaw with this material, or maybe this particular controller. Maybe with others it's okay, but I do know somebody else who's also got a sticky A button, so it might just be an issue with the controller. That's all as far as my analysis of the situation goes. Overall, I think the controller is pretty good, but with those 2 issues, it does make it much harder to work with and much harder to justify buying. I do like the feel of it. It mimics the GameCube controller very well. think the handles are just a little bit narrower. They point a little bit more towards the middle than GameCube controllers, and I like how the GameCube controller feels better in that regard, but overall it's a pretty nice feeling controller. It just has a couple of issues, the A button and the joystick. When you're putting this back together, it does make it a little easier to slot the shoulder buttons in, or the triggers first, and then put the rest in. In my case, the joystick will fall off of the, oh, in fact there it did. So that can be really tricky. One thing that you can do if you're unable to fix the A button is if you go to the PowerA website, you can submit a warranty request. Fortunately, mine was still under warranty when I made my request. The new controller hasn't gotten here yet. It's been maybe 2 weeks. I think with the coronavirus stuff, they might be a little bit delayed, but I don't think I'll be using this controller anymore. It seems bad enough that it's just out of commission. So I'll just go ahead and close this up so you can see how to do it. Watch me fumbling around so that if you start fumbling around, you don't feel too bad. Also, if you happen to know any way to fix the A button, please leave that in the comments. I'd appreciate it, and I'm sure anybody else who has the problem and doesn't know how to fix it would also appreciate it. Sometimes have a hard time getting these screws into the base of these controller handles. I think I got the first one, I got that one too good. I can struggle with that sometimes. The screws are Phillips drive, so you'll need a Phillips screwdriver. Relatively small one. And there you have it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe.